So today we'll start from where we had left. C++. We were doing a program. Yeah, we had started with C++. We had an introduction of C++ programming, different approaches of programming, that is different style of programming, in which object-oriented programming is most popular. C++ falls under procedural also, modular also, and object-oriented also. This we had seen in the previous lecture, and we had started with idea behind object-oriented programming. So we had started with theory, but I decided to start with the example to make you familiar with the terms which we are going to see in object oriented programming. So we were doing the example which is given in the textbook. Here we had directly started with this example, and half of the program I had already explained you. So this was the program. I'll just have a quick recap what we had done. Of course, we need to define the header files iostream.h, conio.h. To declare a class, to define a class, we need to use class keyword as we have used the class keyword here. If I want to use class keyword in my program, I mean, if I want to have a class in a program, I will have to use the keyword class. Wherever you are declaring a class, you need to use a class keyword, and you will give the name to that class. Like here I have given ABC. You can give any name which you feel like, which is with which you are comfortable. And in that we use access specifiers. Public, private, there is protected also. Public and private we have studied in 11th standard. Protected we will study in this 12th standard, but when the time will come, that time I will explain you. Just keep in mind that there are access specifiers which we can use in class. So it's here I have used public and private. I had explained you various ways how we can declare a variable, or how we can declare a function as public or private in previous lecture. So as you can see, this is a variable. Data is a variable of class ABC and whose data type is int. Wherever you'll have doubt, you can ask me. Unmute your mic and ask, because I might not be checking the chat box right now. So this is the int data type, and this is declared as private. Okay, and I had told you different ways that below this also we can declare another variable that will also be a private, because that is under this. So that I had told you, explained you before also, and if possible I'll upload the videos. I have the videos with me. Then here public, this function, as you can see, this is a function. This is declared as public. This is declared as public, and anything after this also, if I declare any function, that will also be public, because that will be under the public. If you'll have to declare anything which is private after this, you'll have to use private colon and the function name. Okay, this I had explained you in the previous lecture. And this is the class. If you are declaring a class, you'll have to use curly braces, and this means the closing of the class. Curly braces close and semicolon. This is how. So whatever is inside in this curly braces is a member of class ABC. Okay, whatever is defined within the class is the member of class ABC. Anything outside this curly braces is not a member of class ABC. This should be clear to you. And execution, this I repeat many times, that execution of the program always starts from the main function, no matter what you write before and after the main function. Whatever is going to happen is going to happen because of the main function. Okay, so this main function is outside the class. Fine. And as you can see, this is a function. If the function is not returning anything, the data type should be void. If the function is returning some integer value, the data type should be int. This we had studied in 11th standard. And as you can see, this is a variable of class ABC. So the variables of a class are known as data members. The variables of a class are known as data members. So this is data member. And the functions of the class ABC are known as member functions. So these are the two terms you are clear with: data members and member functions. Data members and member functions. So this is known as data member, this is known as member functions. And these two together, data members and member functions together, known as properties of a class. Here these two are the properties of class ABC. Is that clear? Fine. So here what is happening? Get data. Get data function. What is this function going to do? It's going to print enter number. It will take input for the variable data, which is integer value. It will be an integer value, and this statement is going to print the number entered is and the value of variable data. So this I don't think I'll have to explain. This is the very simple function which this get data member function is going to perform. So three terms you should be clear with: data member, member functions, and properties of a class. Data members and member functions are known as properties of a class. Now here's the main function. I told you whatever is going to happen because of the main function. So within the main function, what this may first thing, this main function is outside the class. So I had okay, fine. So this is the main function. Here CLR SCR is used for clear screen. And can you see this statement? This statement. Can you observe anything here? Here, this is the name of the class. This is the name of the class, ABC. This is the name of the class. And after the name of the class, there is another something which is known as OBJ. This is an object of a class. If you want to create an object of a class, you will have to use the class name and the object name. You can give any name to the object: A, B, C, D, X, Y, Z, P, Q, R, your name, any animal's name, anything you can give. It's up to you what name you want to give. Here I have given the name as OBJ. The name of the object is OBJ. So this is known as instantiation of the class. Instantiation means instantiation means creation of the object. Here I have created one object whose name is OBJ. So to create an object, what you will have to do? You will have to use the class name in the main function and followed by the object name. Is this clear to you? Then one more thing I want to tell you, that the object of a class is known as instance of a class. The another term for object is known as instance. The another term for object is instance. Okay? Or you can say, OBJ is a variable of class ABC. OBJ is a variable of class ABC. You can say that. Okay? So how we can see a class and an object as, for example, one example I had given you, a fruit can be a class, and in a fruit, mangoes, banana, they are the objects of the class. We can see it if we'll compare it with real world entities. Or we can say the example which is mentioned in your textbook is the classification of animals. Once upon a time in your life, somewhere you might have learned biology. In which classification of animals you have studied, in which animals are classified into vertebrate, non-vertebrate, the animals who have backbone, the animals do not have backbone, the animals who have backbone falls, some animals which falls under this, who have backbones are fish, fish, and what we can say, humans, birds, tiger, the animals who do not have. So is it clear to you? Class and objects. The simplest example is fruits is a class, and mango, banana, apples, they are the objects of class fruits. Likewise, you can relate it with that. This is the class, and this is the object of a class. You can give multiple objects, you can instantiate multiple objects of a class. Here I have given, for example, obj comma obj1, I can give comma obj2. Fine. So a class can have multiple objects, so you can say the objects are variables of a class. Objects are variables of a class, we can say. A class can have multiple objects. A class are object are also known as instances of the class, and objects are also, you can say, objects are the variable of the class. So the terms which we have learned and which are important to remember: data members, this is a data member, member functions, and object of the class. The object is also known as instance, and object, you can also say that object is a variable of a class.
Member data can only come under private.
Sorry, it's not clear.
Member data can only come under private, or it can also
Not
come under public.
necessary, not necessary. I will tell you why I have declared it as private. Okay, then
Yes,
here, yeah. So now I have created an object. Now I want to give an important statement which you have to keep in your mind, that an object has its own copy of data members. An object has its own copy of data members. Data members means this is the data member. This is an object of class ABC, and this is a member of data. Since this is an object of class ABC, so it can access the data members of class. It can access the data members of the class. Is it clear? So objects has its own copy of data members, and the multiple objects which I had told you, obj1, obj2, for example, these are the multiple objects of the class. These objects, all the three objects, will have its own copy of data members. Now what this statement means: if for object data is 4 and for object 1 data is 5, so they are independent to each other. They have their own internal state. If for obj data is 4, it's not necessary for obj1 data will be equal to 4. The value of data might be different because they have its own copy of data members. Is there any doubt till now? See, all these things will be clear to you when we
many.
will see multiple examples of C++. Okay? Yeah.
For OBJ1 and OBJ2, we have to add more public and private data, right? Because
No,
it cannot
no,
access the.
no, 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 no. They have its own. Since this is an object of class, so it has its own copy of the data member of class ABC.
But if we only put one number, then how can all the three access that same number?
That we will see through example, but right now you just keep in mind that object has its own copy of data members, okay, and they communicate through member functions.
Yes, ma'am.
Objects share the member functions, but the object has its own copy of data member, or you can say they have their own copy of data members also, because data members are anyways are not going to change, they are going to be same, but value of data can change for each object. For obj it might be 4, for obj1 it might be 2, for obj3 whatever obj it might be 1, for obj1 it might be 10, for obj2 it might be 20. So objects have its own copy of data. Okay, so let's come back to the program. Here can you see, here's an object. If I want to call the member function of the object, I had told you the object has its own copy of data and data members. Okay, so if the object want to call the member function get data, how it's going to call it? It's going to call by using the name of the object dot operator. Operators, you know, na, we had studied in 11th, multiple operators, plus operator, multiplication operator, addition, multiplication, and operator, or operator, so many operators, conditional operator, these many operators we had learned in 11th standard. So this is a dot operator. So using the object name and dot operator and the function, the member function which you want to call, the name of that function, the name of that function will help me to call the member function of the object obj. Till here it is clear? Is there any doubt? Because it is important to understand, because further examples, all these concepts are important, very important to understand the program. So till now, is there any doubt? So here obj.getData. So what's going to do? It's going to call this function getData. Now let's see what is there in the getData. Enter number. So if it's calling the function this, so whatever is written here is going to execute. So let me the output is going to be, the get function is called, so the output is going to be enter number. Here enter number, enter number, this is going to be the output. First statement is only to print whatever is written here. Second is cin data. I'll use /n, so the next data will be on a new line. It will not continue here, it will be in a new line. Cin, so cin, that means I will take input for variable data. The data type of this variable was int, so the value should be integer, any integer number which is given in your textbook as 10. Okay, so I'll give it as 10. Next is the number entered is. Now this statement is going to print the number entered is colon. The value of data will be printed, which is 10. The input which I had taken for variable data, that will be, that value is going to print for data, which is 10. Got it? Then next is get ch, end of the program. So this was this program. This is clear to you? I'll show you the output after running in Turbo C++ also, but This output is going to be the output. Now Anirudh had asked me one question, that how an object going to have its own value of data. Let me try this. First I will run this program and then I will start with this topic, how an object can have its own value, can have its own copy of its data members. So let me first run this program. This is the program. Okay, I'll just compile it and I will run it. The number entered is 10. This was the output expected. If the mouse stops working in Turbo C++, what you have to press Alt F, left arrow. Can you see the desktop reprint? And you have to press enter. So what you have to do, Alt F, left arrow, enter. Alt F, left arrow. Make sure this green thing should be on repaint desktop. Always, by default it is always on repaint desktop. In case if it's not there, make sure that this repaint desktop is selected. This green thing should be on repaint desktop. Enter. Then mouse will start working. Now I will run this. 10. The number entered is 10. This was the output expected. Fine. So is the program clear to you? Now I will
Yes,
explain.
ma'am.
Now I will explain how an object can have its own copy of data members. That's what I was telling you. I will declare another, I will instantiate. The term you should use is instantiate. I will instantiate another object, third object. Okay. Now what I'm going to do, now this object obj has called the function obj.getData. Next, this obj1 will call the function getData. I had told you each object has its own copy of data members and member functions. That means this object has its own copy of data member and member functions. This obj1 will have its own copy of data members and member functions, and this object is going to have its own copy of data members and member functions. Okay, its own copy. It's not interdependent. They are not dependent on each other. They are independent. They have their own internal state. So this obj is calling the get function. Now I want is obj1 should call its member function, which is get data. So is this statement valid, which I am about to write, obj1 dot get data? Is this valid? Yeah, of course, because the obj1 can also access the get data function because it has its own copy of data member, or you can say the objects communicate to each other through member functions. Then if I will write obj2 dot get data, this statement is also valid because obj2 has its own copy of its data members and member functions. Of course, this if obj can call its member function like this, then obj1 can also call its member function like this. Obj2 can also call member function of this. Okay, but you have to make sure to create an object, you will have to use the class name and the object name, comma obj1, comma obj2, and semicolon is very important to terminate a statement. Okay, so the output for this, what the output is going to be for this? This time I will use this so that it will be easy for me to write the output. So what for obj.get data, the output will be same, obj.get data. That means this object is calling get data function. So it's calling this function, this function. What is there in this function? Can you see here? Enter number. Here it is enter number. So this is going, it's going to print enter number colon. This is what it's going to be. Then it will take input for variable data. The input will be, for example, I'm taking 10. And cout, it's going to print the number entered is, the number entered is what? The number entered is colon the value of variable data. So the input which I had taken for data, that is going to be the value, which is 10. Got it? Next output, if you, this statement has got executed. Now I'm talking about this statement. Now this object is going to call the member function get data. So this output is going to generate the statements after this. Again, obj1 is calling get data, so whatever is there in the get data function is going to get execute. So first statement is enter number. Again, it's going to write enter number colon. Now, no, it's not necessary that I am going to give only 10. I can give any value, for example, 60. So if I have given the value of data as 60, the next statement will be the number entered is colon the value of data which I have given, which is 60, will get printed after this, which is 60. Next statement. What is the next statement going to be? And now next statement, if I'm talking about obj2 dot get data. So this obj2 is going to again call the function get data. So whatever is written in the get function will get executed. So first statement is cout enter number. Same thing, it's going to write enter number colon and cin any value I can choose, for example 100, and the next statement is going to print the number entered is and the value of the data, which is going to print as 100. So the number entered is 100. Okay, so this is done. Then end of the program, get ch, end of the program. So the output is going to be, oh no, that thing actually went, whatever I had written. I'll show you the output here in this Turbo C++ also. So could you see, for each object, I'll write the output again, what I was trying to tell you. The the number entered is, this is the output going to be. So let us execute this program. I have made changes to this program and let us save it. Example 2, for example, I'm giving that the name as example2.cpp. Save. I told you also before also that you have to you'll have to copy this file in your bin folder. Okay, I'm not repeating the steps again. You will find the Turbo C++ folder in C drive. In that folder you can have bin, you can find the bin folder, and you'll have to copy this file in the bin folder. I think, yeah, here I have copied it, and now I will open it with Turbo C++. File, Open. The name was example2.cpp. Open. Okay, I'll compile it. No error. I will run it. The number entered is 10. Then enter the number. As you can see here, the number entered is 10. Enter number. It's in continuation. So there I'll have to use /n so that the number entered should come in a new line. So it, for example, 60, the number entered is 60, and soon after the number entered is 60, there is enter number. So I'll write 100. So the number entered is 100. So what I can do is, after this I will use /n. So next, anything which is going to print after this line will be from a new line. Okay, no, not after this. Actually it should be used after the data, in double inverted commas /n. This is how you will use the /n. I will compile it, and now we will see the output. 10. The number entered is 10. 60. The number entered is 60. 100. So this is going to be output. This is going to be the output. So as you have seen that each object has its own copy of data. When the object one obj had called its function, the value of the data was how much? 10. When obj1 had called, the value of data was 60. When obj2 had called, then the value was 100. So each object has its own copy of data members and member functions, and I hope it's clear to you. So for today we will stop here. Okay.